Hi, I'm Isabella Chen, and this is the story of how my stepsister learned that true fashion isn't about the label you wear, but the vision you create. For 5 years, I watched her mock my failed fashion career, while unknowingly wearing designs from my multi-billion-dollar brand. But let me start from the beginning. I met my stepsister Victoria when our parents married 10 years ago. She was already a rising star in the fashion world, backed by our father's money and connections. I was the quiet one, sketching designs in my notebook and working late nights in a small studio. What Victoria didn't know was that before our parents' marriage, I had already founded Ghost Label, an ultra-exclusive fashion brand that never revealed its designer's identity. We sold through a lottery system, with waiting lists spanning years. Celebrities and royalty begged for our pieces, but no one knew who created them. I kept my success quiet for a reason. My birth father, a struggling designer, had died penniless after bigger brands stole his ideas. He taught me that in fashion, anonymity can be power. So when my mother married Victoria's father, Richard Parker, I let them believe I was just another struggling designer. Victoria took particular pleasure in reminding me of my failure. At every family dinner, she'd model her latest luxury purchases. "This is what real design looks like, Isabella," she'd say, ironically often wearing Ghost Label pieces without knowing it. The ultimate humiliation came at her wedding last year. She'd insisted I attend not as a sister, but as a waitress, wearing a uniform she'd specially designed to be unflattering. "It's perfect," she laughed, adjusting my collar. "Now everyone will see the difference between a real designer and a wannabe." What she didn't know was that her custom wedding dress was actually a Ghost Label original. She'd pulled strings to get one through our exclusive lottery, not realizing she'd begged to wear her stepsister's design on her big day. For 5 years, I'd maintained my anonymity, running Ghost Label from hidden workshops while working in my failing studio as a cover. Victoria would sweep in occasionally, offering to rescue me by letting me work as her assistant. Then came last month. Victoria's own fashion brand, Parker Luxe, was failing. Fast fashion copies and changing trends had left her struggling to maintain relevance. She'd called an emergency family meeting to beg for help. "We need fresh designs," she'd admitted reluctantly. "Something exclusive, like Ghost Label. They're the only brand that hasn't been hurt by the market changes." If only she knew that tomorrow, at her brand's desperate relaunch event, she was about to learn exactly who had been designing her favorite clothes all along. Victoria had organized her brand's relaunch at the city's most prestigious hotel. Fashion editors, celebrities, and influencers filled the ballroom, all curious to see how Parker Luxe would attempt to save itself from bankruptcy. I arrived early, not in my usual simple clothes, but in a striking Ghost Label design that had never been released. Victoria barely glanced at me, too busy practicing her speech about Parker Luxe's revolutionary new direction. "Isabella," she hissed as I passed, "why aren't you in the staff uniform I provided? And is that a Ghost Label piece? How did you get that? Those are impossible to obtain." Before I could answer, Anna Wintour herself walked in. To Victoria's shock, she headed straight for me. "Isabella, darling," Anna air-kissed my cheeks. "Finally ready to reveal yourself. The fashion world has been dying to know Ghost Label's creator." Victoria froze mid-stride. "What did she just call you?" "Oh dear." Anna raised an eyebrow. "Don't tell me they don't know." She gestured to Victoria and our parents, who had gathered nearby. I smiled softly. "They're about to find out." I nodded to my assistant, who began lowering the massive screens around the ballroom. "What's going on?" Victoria demanded. "This is my relaunch event." The screens flickered to life, showing Ghost Label's iconic logo transforming into something new. A video began playing, showcasing the brand's journey, from its mysterious launch 5 years ago to its current status as fashion's most exclusive label. Ghost Label. A narrator's voice filled the room, the industry's best-kept secret. Until today. Photos began appearing, me working late in my hidden studio, sketching designs that would become fashion legends, celebrities wearing my pieces at major events, including Victoria's wedding dress. "No," Victoria whispered, recognizing her dress in the Ghost Label portfolio. "That's impossible." Then came the financial figures. Ghost Label's worth $2 billion. Waiting list, 50,000 clients. Average piece value, $50,000. All created by one designer who had never stepped into the spotlight. "Ladies and gentlemen, Anna Wintour stepped forward. Allow me to introduce Ghost Label's founder and creative director, Isabella Chen. The room erupted in gasps and applause. Fashion editors who had ignored me all evening suddenly rushed forward. Victoria's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. But this wasn't just about revealing my success. Because in my other hand, I held a folder containing information that would completely transform both our fashion empires. "This is a joke." Victoria laughed hysterically, but her voice trembled. "My little stepsister, the Ghost Label designer, the brand that even I have to wait years to buy from." "The very same," I said calmly, opening my folder. "And now I have a business proposal for Parker Lux." Our father, Richard Parker, stepped forward, his business instincts kicking in despite his shock. "What kind of proposal?" I clicked a remote, bringing up new images on the screens. "Ghost Label will acquire Parker Lux, but not in the way you might think. We're going to merge the brands, creating something unprecedented in fashion." Victoria's face contorted. "You want to buy my brand?" "Never. I'd rather go bankrupt." I cut in softly. "Your company has 3 months of runway left, Victoria. Your last collection was copied by fast fashion brands before it even hit the stores. You need what Ghost Label has: exclusivity, mystery, and innovation." Fashion journalists were frantically taking notes. This was the story of the decade. The mysterious Ghost Label designer revealed and now offering to save her stepsister's failing brand. "Here's my vision," I continued, showing concept sketches on the screens. "We'll create 2 lines. Ghost Label remains ultra-exclusive, while Parker by Ghost becomes the accessible luxury line. You'll be the face of the brand, Victoria, what you do best. I'll be the creative force, what I do best." Anna Wintour nodded approvingly. "Brilliant. The mystery of Ghost Label with the marketability of Parker Lux. It's exactly what the industry needs." Victoria stared at the screens, seeing her brand reimagined through my designs. I could see the moment her pride battled with her business sense. But I wasn't finished yet. I had one more revelation that would make this decision very easy for her. "Before you decide," I said, pulling out one final document, "there's something else you should know. Those counterfeit designs killing Parker Lux, they're not coming from fast fashion brands. They're being leaked from inside your company." Victoria's head snapped up. "What?" I projected a series of emails onto the screens. "Your design director has been selling your sketches to competitors months before your launches. That's why you can't compete. You're being undercut before you even begin." Our father stepped closer to read the emails, his face darkening with rage. Victoria collapsed into a chair, her perfectly curated image crumbling as she realized the extent of the betrayal. "But Ghost Label," I continued, "has never been copied. Because we have something no other brand has. A proprietary design and manufacturing process I developed. Each piece has hidden elements that make counterfeiting impossible." Anna Wintour nodded. "It's true. That's why Ghost Label pieces are considered the ultimate fashion investment. They're impossible to duplicate." I walked over to Victoria and knelt beside her chair. "Remember when we were kids, before the competition and rivalry? You used to tell me your dreams of creating something revolutionary in fashion. We can still do that, together." Victoria looked up, tears smudging her perfect makeup. "Why would you help me after how I treated you?" "Because true innovation comes from collaboration, not competition," I replied. "And because despite everything, you're still my sister." The transformation over the next 6 months was extraordinary. Parker by Ghost became the most talked about merger in fashion history. Victoria excelled as the brand ambassador, while I continued creating from behind the scenes. Yesterday, we launched our first joint collection. Victoria stood proudly on stage, introducing me as my sister, my designer, my partner. The same socialites who once mocked my failed career now fought for front row seats. Our parents watched from the audience, finally understanding that success comes in many forms. Dad has stopped pushing his connections, realizing that true talent finds its own way. The small studio where I started, we've turned it into an incubator for young designers, teaching them that sometimes the quietest voice in fashion speaks the loudest. Victoria has her own office next to my design studio now, though she still occasionally forgets and starts giving me fashion advice. Old habits die hard, but at least now she laughs about it. As for me, I still sketch in my notebook late at night, but now those sketches become reality in ways even I never imagined. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving others wrong. It's proving yourself right and then bringing everyone along for the journey. After all, true style isn't about the clothes you wear or the labels you own. It's about having the vision to see beauty where others see failure and the grace to share that vision with